Welcome back to The Gassing Station, the podcast that plunges into the piston heads forums. Like Sam and I have recently plunged into new tyre ownership. Sam, Sheehan, my co-host that you've just heard, is... Sam, we've just recently got some cross climates, not on the same car. You've put them on your Mazda.
Yeah.
How are you finding them?
Well, I was running semi-slicks through most of winter, as some of you might know, and so they were quite firm.
We were talking about semi-slicks last time. Are we talking about the PH view of semi-slicks, which is essentially like a cut slick?
This is proper. Well, I mean, they were Toyota R888Rs, which are obviously quite a track-focused tyre.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I ran them through the first part of winter thinking every time it rains, I'm going to have to drive around at 3 miles per hour. The grip was all right. It's actually not bad. It's only standing water. Yeah. They're pretty good, surprisingly consistent across all scenarios apart from standing water and obviously ice, etc. But I didn't go out in that.
On a side note, when I had the Golf GTI project car, those were on some Nankan. I can't remember the exact tyre, but they were pretty much cut slick.
Yeah,
they were really, really, really track focused. And one of the last times I drove that car was in the absolute driving rain. I mean, it was on the motorway. We were talking some standing water, but it felt like the car was floating. I actually had to pull over and stop and just wait for it to settle before going back out. It
Change
was
your underpants. Yeah.
Unbelievably, a lot of aquaplaning.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That was a worry I had, and that's the reason why I've actually gone for a cross climate.
Yeah.
But the added benefit, I don't think you'll notice this as much because you haven't come from such an extreme tyre, but for me is the ride comfort's quite substantially improved. An NC MX-5 on soft springs, they don't ride particularly badly anyway. But you just suddenly, it's taken away all of that pitter-patter, when you sort of catch a ridge or a crack, it's just smoothed it out. Yeah. So the added benefit I didn't expect was comfort.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I've actually experienced with mine. So I went for, so this is for my 435i Grand Coupe, which I bought a couple of months ago, and the tyres were mismatched. And the fronts were not, they were pretty low. So I needed some new tyres. I'd heard, so PH's marketing manager, Adam Betteridge, had some cross-climate 3S, well, sports fitted to his Mini, and he was raving about them, so I was like, I need to try them out for myself. Yeah. Because it's our everyday car as well, so it needs to be, I don't want anything, I want something that can kind of work in all weathers.
Yeah.
So I picked them up, and the big difference was that, so when I bought the car, I asked them to refurb the wheels, and I think they did it quite quickly because the tyre fitter said that your wheels were on the wrong way around. The fronts were at the rear and the rears are on the fronts. I knew that the car, I've said here before that I thought the tracking needed doing because it was tugging a little bit. Yeah. So I thought, right, what I'll do is I'll have the new tyres fitted because I knew it needed new tyres, and I'll have the tracking done at the same time. Don't need it done anymore because it was just that the tyres were on the wrong way around.
Wow. Yeah.
And so what I think had happened, it was either that they had just put the tyres on the wrong way and just kind of let it out, or at some point the tyres were wearing at the rear.
So they swapped them.
And
they hadn't acknowledged they're a different size. That's silly, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, the car, when I drove it home, drove significantly differently to when I drove it on the test drive.
Bet the steering feels better.
Oh, it's a different car.
Yeah.
It's as it should be. Yeah. So I've already done a longish journey in it, and it was just so lovely.
So we both got free mods out of our mods.
Yes, pretty much.
A benefit.
Yeah. Well, because I thought I needed to change the dampers because I thought, they're feeling a little baggy. But no, it's because the old tyres were really, they were properly at the limit. 2, they were on the wrong way around. And 3, they were run flats. Whereas what I've got now are not run flats. And so, I mean, it is a huge difference. So I'm extremely chuffed with mine. I will check in again in a couple of months' time. Because I think I might get the tracking done anyway. Yeah, just because it needs doing.
Yeah, and also when you get new tyres, it's just nice to prolong the life of them, isn't it?
Oh, precisely. Yeah. Particularly as if they've put the wheels on the wrong way around, I don't know what kind of stuff's been done, but the important thing is it's not pulling anymore. When it really was the case. You'd be going down the motorway and you were just constantly having to keep the wheel straight and true.
Because your rears are on your fronts.
Yeah, exactly.
The cross climates are, if I remember correctly, were the first summer tyre that was winter approved to come out. But now there are actually loads of alternatives. So the market is really good actually now. So if you're, because my big concern with going for like an all season ish tyre is in the summer, are they just going to be rubbish? But I know from experience on other cars that this segment of tyres now, they're so versatile.
Absolutely.
Tyre tech is so cool.
Yeah,
it's like one of the fastest evolving segments in the automotive world.
It's the kind of thing that is exceptionally boring on the surface. And I've yet to have, as a car journo, one of those trips where you go and try different tyres.
Yeah.
But it is the kind of thing of where, I know you've heard it before, it makes the biggest difference to your car.
Does.
But it does. I mean, it's the first contact patch, but it also, is takes a lot of the damping as well. So it's the kind of thing of where I thought I was going to have to spend a good chunk of money on sorting the suspension out. And now I just realized it was all because the tires were crap.
There you go.
So I'm feeling so much better. But that's not what we're here to talk about in this episode of the podcast. If you've seen the title, we're here to talk about the new Audi RS4. Sorry, Audi RS5, which I've been to see in Munich, of all places. Quite strange, BMW's home turf. But it's the news is finally out. I thought I could put it on the previous podcast, but then I got my timings wrong. So by the time you listen to this, it's going to be a couple of days that you would have seen the RS5. There's a lot of talk about it, mostly for how unbelievably wide it is and also for its silly name.
Yeah.
So we should probably start off by explaining why the RS4 is called the RS5.
Yes.
Are you familiar with this, Sam, about how they changed the names?
Yeah, it was quite controversial, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they basically, what happened is, I think it was at the end of it was either 23 or 24, Audi went, our naming system clearly isn't working. So let's do something of where odd numbered cars would be combustion powered and even numbered would be electric. Which on the surface you kind of go like, oh, okay, well, I could see how that works. But then you go like, well, how on earth are you going to sort out different sizes then? Because there is a difference between an A4 and an A6 and an A5. And so they quickly realized that didn't actually make any sense and everybody hated it.
Yes.
And so they changed it back so that now going forward, it's the way that it's always been. Audi tries to change its naming. Do you remember when it started doing like 30, 35? Yeah. I still have no idea.
It was just the number would go up, but it had no relation to actual engine size. It was so annoying.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, it's really simple. And it's, and as soon as they said it's really simple and explained it to me, it was like some sort of equation I had to do in my head.
BMW's a bit guilty of this, aren't they? Because it used to be like a 118 was a 1.8. And like a 520 was a 2 litre, and now it's not quite as clear as that.
But the thing is that you have some historical background to it to go, oh, I sort of get that.
Where it ranks at least.
Yes, exactly. Where it was like, a 330 used to be a 3 litre.
Yeah.
Now it's a 2 litre, but you know that it's still kind of the higher performance car. So I get that. And it's like, Mercedes doing the 63 being used to be a 6.2 litre V8. Now is, well, I don't think
soon
it is
to
anything.
Be departed, if not already departed.
Yeah, precisely.
4-pot hybrid,
I'll get onto that in a bit, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But so yes, it means that unfortunately, with all this change, the RS, basically they changed the naming back, but it was too late for the A5, A4. So it means that the RS5 is the RS4. I've no idea what they're going to do when there's a coupe that comes out. Are they going to call it the RS5? Well, the RS5 Sportback was the five-door.
Yeah.
It's so complicated. Yeah. Anyway, so here we go. It was the RS4. Now it's the RS5. The headline figures are 639 horsepower.
Quite a lot.
A huge amount.
Relatively large.
Relatively. I mean, the last car was, the RS4 beforehand was 450 odd horsepower, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a colossal jump in power. That's obviously come because it's now a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
It's Audi's first plug-in hybrid RS model. They've had electric RS models before, the RS e-tron GT. This, however, is the first plug-in hybrid. So what you have is a 177 horsepower electric motor that's connected up to the 8-speed automatic gearbox.
Yep.
And then the combustion engine, and this took a while to get out of the Audi engineers, produces 510 horsepower. So it's a good step, 60 odd horsepower more than the RS4, and then you add on the hybrid side and you get all the power. This is no slight on Audi's engineers, because they were fantastic on the day. They could clearly tell that I was wanting to know all the technical details about it, and so they rushed over and gave me as much information as possible. It was really, really nice. But what I asked them, I said, okay, well, you've got this plug-in hybrid system. There's a 22 usable kilowatt-hour battery under the boot floor, which gives you 54 miles of electric only running. But obviously that battery's there to fill in and just give you as much power as possible. So I said, okay, so what happens then? So they gave us this headline figure, 639 horsepower. What happens when the battery runs out? And they went, oh, well, obviously it's a plug-in hybrid, so you just plug it in at the end of the day, and that should get you through the day. And I was like, okay, well, what happens if you've used your battery up and you don't have anywhere to charge it, and you've not charged it overnight? What would you do? How much combustion power does the engine have? And they said, oh, well, you can obviously charge the battery with the combustion engine, so you will never run out of battery.
Never happen. Yeah.
And I said, okay, so what happens if you've not charged the battery, and you've run out of battery and you've not charged it, and you don't want to use the combustion engine to charge it? Because any time I've been in a plug-in hybrid and you've used the engine to charge the battery, you just get like minus numbers in MPGs. It's horrifically bad. It is emergency. I don't even know what emergency situation you would have to charge your battery using the combustion engine.
Oh, I think, well, the non-performance answer is if you wanted to drive in the city in electric mode, but obviously,
who's going to,
in an RS,
whatever.
Yeah.
So then they were like, the look on their face was of utter bafflement, because they were like, why would you buy a plug-in hybrid and not charge the battery? And so I had to explain to them. I was like, I imagine it's different in Germany. And this is what was funny about it, the cultural difference. I was like, I imagine it's different in Germany, of where people buy a plug-in hybrid and then use them as plug-in hybrids. I was like, we don't do that in the UK. Most plug-in hybrid buyers buy them because of, tax benefits. Yeah, it's they'll get it as company cars. And we are so lazy that we won't bother plugging them in. We'll just go, oh, so you're lugging around all that weight. I'm going to get onto that. Because there's a lot of it. And so, it really just will be the combustion engine. So they were like, oh, well, I guess then it's 510 horsepower, but you would be crazy to not charge the battery.
Yeah, that's an interesting number, because the 2.9 that Alpha makes is 510 to 520, isn't it? I think horsepower. So it's kind of pretty much identical. Obviously not the same engine.
Maybe there is something sneaky going on. But yeah, this was the funny thing of the marketing versus the engineers. This is the great thing about going to German car manufacturers and asking them questions about that, because they will always give you a straight answer. Yeah, especially in English. So I've had it before with Audi, of where it was the launch of the old A8, and they were kind of talking us in German, and there was a translator, and someone kept badgering them for an answer, because they were just getting a very PR-y response. And this German engineer who had been speaking in German the whole time just cracked out in perfect English and just came with a really straight answer. Yeah. And it was like, thank you. Yeah. You guys are great. So they were talking about this 2.9 litre V6. The old car had a 2.9 litre V6, and they were kind of saying it's a completely different engine. And so I was like, oh, what componentry is new? Are we talking 90, 95%? And they were like, well, about 60.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay, right, yeah. But it's still, a lot's changed. So it's first RS with a water-cooled intercoolers.
Cool.
Variable geometry turbos. There's a new intake. It is a massively reworked engine, which is why they've been able to get 60 horsepower, more out of it versus the old one. So it's a very different car. Before we get onto the weight, because that's probably the biggest number of everything here.
Well, literally, yeah.
Styling.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube or Spotify, I'm going to put up some pictures now of the car. I probably actually would have done it earlier, but you'll be able to see the car. And for those who haven't, if you've not seen the car, but you know what an A5 looks like, picture that in your head, either as an Avant or as a saloon, because we're getting both of them. And now add 40 millimeters on each side of width.
On each side?
Each side.
Oh, I misread that.
40 millimeters.
Of
yes.
course.
Because there was some confusion about this on the day of where they were like, oh, it's, we heard this figure of like 77 millimeters width. And then, there was like, oh, it's actually 40. And then the press release came through and it was like, no, it's 40 millimeters each side.
Wow.
Giving you, roughly 80 millimeters extra width over the old car.
Normally,
the standard car.
Yeah, normally manufacturers go with the bigger number because it's more interesting. Not apart from weight, obviously. Sometimes they want to keep that one hidden. But so do you think they're almost embarrassed by the width? Because normally they would say we've increased the width by 50 mil, and that's them doubling. Adding each side. Here they've hidden that almost within the 40 mil.
That's a really good point. Actually,
are they a little bit like this is too much?
Maybe we've gone
what have we done
far here? Because they've not actually given us an overall number.
Yeah.
So they've not gone. So it's a good point in that sense that they've not given us the overall dimensions of the car, nor have they said, it's X amount wider. It's this big number just for one side.
I've never heard a manufacturer do that. That's something you do if you're a modifying car on your own. You might say, I added a spacer, I added 5 mil on each side.
Exactly.
Maybe.
40 millimeters each side, front and rear.
Yeah.
It's wide. So it gives it quite a kind of a muscly look, doesn't it, Sam? What do you think of it? It's a bit divisive.
Every single image I saw of it, up to the point where I saw the back of it, I thought, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like the thing on the nose where it feels a little bit. You remember the old DTM cars, which were like the bodywork. They look like a road version. The Audi had their own ones.
Oh yeah,
it was the RS4, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and it just looked like someone had squashed the nose down, and then the wheel arches had gone up like this. This is a softer version of that, so I love that look.
Oh, good point.
It's kind of just squashed into its base, and I think that looks really cool. And obviously having extra 40 mil adds to that. The rear, I like it until I get to the bottom of the rear. And then I'm a bit confused.
Yes. So at the back, you have the usual Audi oval exhausts.
Yeah.
70 millimeter outlets, but the actual kind of shroud for the oval exhaust is quite a lot bigger than that.
Yeah, they've been doing that a while, haven't they? They just got exhaust inside the surround. Just looks a bit silly.
It sounds pretty good on startup, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it starts on electric mode as standard, but you can, if you get in, put the ignition on, whack it into RS mode, and then hit start.
Yeah,
it will fire the engine.
That's the noise it makes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just a little puff of V6, So, but the problem is that the exhausts, whereas they've always been at the outer edges of the bumper, and now not together, a la 911 GT3. Yeah. They're kind of like in between. And it kind of makes it look a little bit awkward, right?
Yeah. All I got was, when you see like, obviously with all the, this is a weird reference, but hear me out on this. All the waterways, the pollution into the sewage going to our riverways in the UK. Sometimes the generic image that some of the titles have been using, they've obviously just gone onto a generic website and just searched for pipes with pollution coming out.
Yeah.
They're just two pipes hanging over a river. I just instantly thought of that.
That is, I wondered where on earth you were going with that, but like we got there.
Nuclear waste in The Simpsons or something.
Yeah.
Just two relatively closely. There's just, to me, they feel very industrial and a little bit bland. There's no character to the design of them. I don't know why they've done it. They look so cool when they were out on the edges and all the other ones.
Exactly. I think the thing that makes it a bit odd or extra odd is that, this is such a wide car.
Yeah.
And the way that they've done it makes it look even wider at the rear and to a point of where it looks a bit cartoony.
Yeah.
I think at the front and the side, it looks super stretched. I actually think that the saloon version looks... I
like it too.
I hate to say it. I'm actually a saloon lover, maybe even more than an estate, to be honest.
When they're done well, they look great.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this RS5 from the side looks epic. And I thought that when I saw it in person, I thought, this is really cool. And it was only when Matt Bird messaged me when the pictures came through, and he's just like, does it look as awkward as this in real life? And I was like, what's he on about? And I saw the pictures and I was like, it hasn't really done it justice. The rear, it's the exhaust at the back that really don't work. The rest of it does, I think, great.
Yeah, you're right. If they were closer together in the middle, that might actually I think the oval needs to get smaller though if they did that.
I think so. Yeah. Otherwise, that I think that would look properly silly, and I don't know why they can't have them further out, because then I think that would look epically mean.
Yeah.
Because it's just so close to being perfect.
Front looks so good. Yeah.
I think particularly versus the M3 and M3 Touring, which this rivals.
Yeah.
You go like, okay, right. Yeah. I think it's kind of the antidote to that. It's, if you find that a little bit garish, weirdly, the Audi RS version feels potentially a little bit more toned down.
It does,
until you get to the rear, but it's obviously very inflated. Let's address the quite literal elephant in the room. It's a heavy boy. It's a heavy thing. So the old car was about 1790 kilos in an Avant form. Yeah, because it was only an Avant. This one is 2.35 tons.
Oh my god, that's a whole Caterham heavier.
Or if it's the Avant, 2.37.
Oh my god! So if you had roof boxes on the old one and you put a Caterham on the roof, you were about here.
The weight difference is 550 kilos, something. Yeah. I mean, like the thing is that it can be difficult to get exact numbers for previous models. So it's roughly 17, kind of high 1700 kilos. But so that still puts it between, 500 to 600 kilos heavier.
Yeah.
And part of that you can go, oh, well, there's the battery, obviously. Yeah. But
I've got a stat for you.
Go on.
Normally, well, I certainly do. I think, how many extra people have I gained in this car? So this car's a one person heavier. Yeah. The GTI Club Sport 50 was about an average male heavier than the Club Sport S. The heaviest person to have ever lived was 635 kilograms. So if he got into the old car, you were about where you were the new car. There you go. There's my stat.
That is amazing.
Heaviest person.
To be fair, though, that person is heavier than was heavier
than a Caterham.
Yeah, was heavier than a Caterham. That's incredible. What an amazing stat. Yeah. But still, so yeah, we've got pretty much a Caterham 7 that has been put into this car. Some of it you can attribute to the battery. Other bits are going to be the electronic systems that it's got to have, annoyingly, because the RS4 released in 2017.
Yeah.
So it's an older car now. It's also a heck of a lot wider. The wheels are massive. The brakes are massive.
Yeah. And they're going to need, that's the thing, even though it might have some regen, it's going to need substantially more braking for that mass.
So to counter that weight, it's got twin valve adaptive dampers that, I mean, I've not driven it, but are apparently tuned to obviously keep it as flat and unflabby as possible. But it's also got a really clever electro-mechanical diff at the back.
Oh, yes.
So we now have a torque vectoring system at the rear that can shift torque between the two rear wheels in 15 milliseconds, which is 10 times faster than you can blink your eye.
Wow. And is that both petrol and electric torque together?
Yes.
That's impressive.
So there's an 8 horsepower electric motor in the rear axle.
Oh my god!
That helps fire it, either way. So which is ridiculous.
That's the complication, the layers of complication you have to add to achieve stuff.
100%.
Then you get to your weight. Yeah.
There's also a limited slip differential connected to the on the center drive shaft as well. So you've got a central limited slip differential plus the electric motor on the transmission, plus an additional smaller electric motor at the rear. That's also adding a heck of a lot of weight.
Wow.
So it's a complicated thing. The thing that filled me with confidence, though, coming out of it was when I drove the C63 SE Performance, the 4-pot hybrid. It was a very complicated system that was actually quite complicated to use.
Yeah.
So it felt like you were only really getting... I think on one of the drives to the circuit, I ran out of electric power, and it felt pretty.
God,
it didn't feel the best to be. It felt because then you're just lugging around a heck of a lot of weight with an engine that's not as powerful as the V8.
You're in like an A45S. That's
pretty much
carrying
a hyper tuned up A45S.
Yeah.
So, and then when you were on the circuit, it would deploy the battery in certain points. That's if it was pre-programmed. You could go onto a circuit and do it manually, I believe. It's a while ago now. But yeah, it had kind of... So we were at Ascari and there was 3 or 4 straights and the electrical energy was programmed to deploy on those straights, like in a Formula 1 car.
Yeah.
But it did mean that, I did several events with that car and before driving it, and it was like you really had to learn everything.
Yeah.
Audi, on the other hand, have said you've got 639 horsepower all the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, the only difference between doing it between boost mode and just regular mode or going into the RSs is you're always getting 639 horsepower. It's just when that comes, there's a difference of having it immediately versus, more of a gradual build up to the 639. But providing the battery's charged, and I think because you've got 54 miles of electric energy, it should stay charged. We'll have to see, to drive it. But it does seem just a lot more of it's a hybrid system, but it's giving you a heck of a lot more power. You don't really need to do anything other than plugging it in.
And with Audi being in Formula One right now, you could hope that, if plug-in hybrids continue, the rapid recharge of these F1 cars of the current day, literally like the very present day, I presume this won't recharge as quickly. Because I was just about to say, I wonder if it's got a rapid recharge when you're in performance mode, which some of them have, but that tech is so new, it's only just coming into F1. So.
Yeah, 100%. So the charging, I don't know what it's like under regenerative braking.
Yeah.
You can actually, interestingly, when you start it in electric mode, the paddles switch from adjusting the transmission to regen.
Oh, I love that.
That's pretty
good,
cool.
because that's the best way to do regen.
Paddle, 100%.
And they've doubled it up. That's smart. I like that.
It's the only way to make EVs feel fun.
Exactly.
And tactile is to use the paddles for regen.
Yeah.
Really intuitive. So you can adjust it with that. The actual charging, the maximum speed is 11 kilowatts.
Yeah.
So you'll get a full battery in about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
On the right charger, which you're going to plug it in overnight. Just plug it in overnight and forget about it, like you would an EV. And then you'll wake up in the morning, you've got 639 horsepower.
Nice.
RS6. I think the thing that's interesting about it though is it's actually come at a really good time. Probably it's actually a really smart time for them to release this because the RS4 was obviously aging a little bit. They tried to improve it with the competition and the edition, was it edition 25 or whatever they called it?
I can't even remember, but I know it was an older.
It was when they put coilovers on it, and it went from feeling like a faster state that was pretty meh to drive to unbelievably good. Yeah. It was getting a little bit long in the tooth, but now its competition is the M3 and the M3 Touring. Plus what was the Mercedes C63, but from what we've read, that's now canned. I've gone onto the Mercedes website and you can still spec one up. So I don't know if it's offset or if you try doing it and they'll go, please don't. We don't want to talk about this car anymore.
Because I thought it was off sale. I thought it was canned production-wise.
I don't know if there's been an official announcement or not, but we're presuming that it has been ditched. That car was over $100,000, I think, new.
Yeah.
Obviously extremely heavy, 2 fewer cylinders, a much more complicated hybrid system. I think if you're a geek, the technology in that C63 was genuinely interesting. When I spoke to engineers about it, I was like, okay, I'm interested in it now. And then when I drove it, I was like, it's a bit rubbish.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, that's what matters, is how it feels. Yeah,
exactly. Whereas with the M3 Touring, you've got obviously a car that's also all-wheel drive, but only has 510 horsepower or about that. But obviously isn't lugging around a battery.
Exactly, yeah.
But I mean, it definitely gives it the RS5, I nearly called it the RS4, gives the RS5 a slight leg up there as it's got more power, it's newer, but it's also about the same price.
Yeah.
So it's just over 89 grand for the Saloon and just over 91 grand for the Avant.
So punch for your pounds, it's actually pretty competitive.
Options, obviously. Yeah, so it's pretty competitively priced.
And like you said, it straddles the gap between an M5 and an M3. Because M5 is 730 odd horsepower plug-in hybrid as well. And about the same weight.
And exactly. I mean, that's the only thing that kind of, obviously you've got to drive it before you you've got any idea of what it's going to be like. But the M5 for me, you quite like the M5, right?
I know I'm of a very small pool of people.
No,
in this,
it's very mixed. It's a very
Yeah.
Marmite car. Some people love it, some people hate it. I personally found it too big and heavy.
It is all of those
Yeah.
things, and so much so that I must confess I did actually graze a wheel on it when I was out on a B road. Yeah, because I came around a corner on
Yeah.
my side of the road, and it was a country road, and there was a tractor coming around the other side very slowly,
Yeah.
and I wasn't, thank God, on that particular moment going particularly quickly, but I still instinctively just went, and I literally corrected my positioning by the smallest angle, and just thankfully it was the softest graze. But obviously these wheels are gorgeous, so I was still devastated. And BMW were fine with it. They're like, I think I don't know, they probably got a system. They just do it in 10 seconds.
Oh yeah.
But that was proof of how wide and big these cars are. The reason I liked the M5 was because I got in it thinking it was going to be pants. And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is not only rapid, but actually just is quite pointy on its nose. It doesn't
Very
feel
pointy.
aloof. It doesn't feel... It is heavy, and I almost noticed the weight more at low speed. At higher speed, it started to flow and dealt with our roads better than I expected. So I was just in awe of it, I think, more than anything.
Maybe that's the way that we'll be approaching this
Yeah.
RS5 is like, if the numbers are stacked against it from a immensely wide, immensely heavy, immensely powerful. A lot of that power comes from a battery.
Yeah.
How's that all going to gel?
Yeah.
It's the thing that the C63 tried and failed with. This, however, all the signs of having spoken to the people there and, had a really good snoop around the car, it definitely looks like that they have learned from AMG's mistakes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
created something that is going to be much more along the lines of the M5, which was epically heavy and shouldn't work. But for its weight, it's good. It's just, for me, it was the sense of inertia of you felt constantly like, even though it was quite darty, you were aware that you were driving something that was 2.7 tons. Is it something like that?
Yeah. Is it even more? Yeah.
It's a small bus.
With that C63, is it gonna? Do you think they'd be tempted to bring back the V8? I guess they just can't, can they, for that car? Or
Yeah, I mean, this is coming from no inside sources whatever. It's purely of what I've read, is that the CLE has been spied testing with what sounds like a V8. So that's the coupe. And that the C63 saloon and estate, it will either be rebranded as a C53 or come back as a C63 with potentially V6 power. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong with that. That's just going purely off what I've read online.
Yeah.
So
it would make sense because it fits. All its rivals are going in that direction, aren't they? So yeah.
100%.
And I think guess it would have hybrid. So
yeah, exactly. And so there's, Mercedes can absolutely come back from it, because if someone says, if they hold their hands up and go, okay, this car obviously wasn't very good. Here's something that will be a lot better. I could take a V6 C63. I think its USP was the V8.
It was,
but I'd still be, the V6s are pretty good. I'd be intrigued to see what that's like. I think people would go like, oh, cool, right, because it looked great, it did handle well, it just had the wrong engine. With the right engine in it, maybe it'll be quite good.
I wish someone would do a small V8, a little, like the Italians would do it, wouldn't they? They used to do that tiny little V8,
tiny little high revving, shouty V8 would be so nice.
Probably makes no sense for some reason. Probably that reason.
That might be it. It did get me thinking though, actually, not to make this about the C63. But I was like, they sold so few, from what we understand. Yeah. They've sold so few C63 SE performances that's the kind of car that it would actually be quite cool to own one day if they ever come down to being like 10 grand. Because it would be horrific to drive. It almost be like as a museum piece. Yeah. And be like, oh, I've got one of the weird, very few 4-pot C63s, and it's got all the Formula One tech on it. Don't drive it, because if something goes wrong, it's bricked. Yeah. But yeah, as a piece of engineering, very, very cool. But yeah, to own this RS5, I just can't wait to drive it. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
I can't wait for the aftermarket kits for the exhaust setup as well. I bet there'll be someone out there doing a brand. What does App still do stuff for Audi? There'll be something, won't there?
Oh yeah, exactly. Hopefully they'll fix the exhausts. The only thing I will end on, there is obviously some cosmetic things that you can do to it to make it look more jazzed up. One of them is they call carbon camouflage, which is like Lamborghini's what do they call it? Forged composites.
Yes, they were the first to do that, weren't they? Automotive. Yeah.
It looks really cool on a Lamborghini. There's definitely a certain crowd that went for it afterwards.
Yeah.
I still think it looks quite cool on the Audi. Not convinced. It just looks a bit. It looks a bit like someone's wrapped it on it, or it looks very aftermarket.
Yeah,
not
and
my cup of tea.
You know it's going to add a lot of money to that base price.
What is my cup of tea, however, though, is if you get... So that's part of the Audi Sport package, which also includes carbon ceramic brakes, which shave 30-odd kilos from the weight, so that's useful. You get this like greeny gold stitching on the inside that looks unbelievably cool. So you'll see, if you go onto my article on the PistonHeads homepage and you see the RS4, it's got this... the RS5 saloon.
I didn't even acknowledge. I was like, yeah, RS5.
It's so annoying. It's like when BMW did M3 and M4, which I'm still ticked off about. They kind of released it in this kind of metallic greeny colour, and then the inside you've got this greeny goldy stitching. It's so lovely. Really cool.
Did you sit in it?
Yeah.
Because I've been in the latest gen interiors, but obviously not this car, and the screens, they're a bit better integrated, aren't they, than in the Audis, I think, than some of the rivals.
Upping time, yeah.
They sort of just blend in with the dash more.
That's true. They felt pretty fluid and usable. I mean, I will always be of the belief that cars are far too screen dependent, and I think it's dangerous. But companies are still doing it. Audi's, for one, is like... Oh, wait, no, it's Mercedes that are really big on screens. Audi are the ones that, when they did the Concept C, they were like slightly smaller. And I was like, yes, more of that, please.
Yeah, and there were buttons on the steering wheel, I see.
Yeah. So should be expecting deliveries or orders, to open up in the summer. So, yeah, RS5s, not 4s, on the road soon. On a completely different end of the spectrum for today's buying challenge, we've got a question from Macron.
What, president?
Potentially.
Does he have his sunglasses on?
It doesn't say anything about whether the budget is in euros or pounds. But maybe we're about to find out a bit more about the French president. And so he asks, under the topic of big booty, he says, I think my options here are pretty limited, but would love to know what I've missed. Requirements. Reliability! !
What?
This is to drive people and kit for events around the country. The kit is bulky. Think trophies and medals, merch, exhibition type stands, etc. People may be 6 or 7. It can't break down.
Oh, all the fun's been ripped out. Reliability and can't break down.
I know. You do realise this is PistonHeads. Do you think that Macron is actually driving the French Olympics team around?
I think that's exactly what's happening.
Look at all the medals and trophies that we're going to be getting. Yeah. And with that in mind, he wants comfort. Some of the 6 or 7 people going in it may be kids. Olympians can be extremely young. Yeah. So, okay, that makes sense.
Maybe he's getting mixed up. They don't have a horse racing in the Olympics, do they? Maybe he's getting mixed up with some of the...
Is it Winter Olympics that's on there?
Oh, yeah, it's winter as well. Yeah, they wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Horses would freeze.
Yes.
So he says the Olympians will moan a lot. Modest economy. It's likely a diesel. Range is important too. Budget, 18 to 22K. Van derivatives are in this zone. The Renault/Vauxhall stuff not overly comfortable unless you tell me different. Transit wet belt is a no. Transporter variants a possibility. Big SUVs, do any of the 3 litre plus Land Rover models have really good storage space when all seats are out? Or is it Merc GL territory? Appreciate reliability and Land Rover a challenge, but 3 litre seems to be a reasonable shot. XC90, too many problems? What have I missed? What would you buy?
I like
Lots
all the questions.
Marks.
Yeah, you're like...
This is really fun because we've not done a 7-seater challenge in all of the gassing station's 6-month history.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited by this. And actually, I'm almost disappointed the budget was this high because I found some really good, cheap 7-seaters out there that I was desperate to include in this list.
Yeah.
One of which I have for fun. But one of them, I just say outright, I really wanted to put a Mazda Bongo Friendly in here because it's called a Bongo Friendly.
It's so funny.
And I really want one.
What do you drive, mate? Got a Bongo.
I've got a Bongo.
No, not what you play. What do you drive?
Exactly. And you can't, there's no way you can sound menacing with your car being called a Bongo Friendly. Although I have got some project ideas for a Bongo Friendly. Would you like to hear them?
Yes.
One of them, no one would do this, and I hope one day to win the Euro Millions so I can make it happen, is to put a, 3-4 rotor engine in it and call it the 787 Bongo.
Oh, that would be so good.
And put it in the renowned colours.
Yeah. Like, what's that screaming down the road?
Oh, it's a 787 bongo. Yeah, exactly.
And it has the most contrasting sound to actual bongos as well.
Yeah, exactly. Screaming, wailing. So that's the dream. And the other one is to do an EV version and call it the Friendy with benefits. But anyway, that is complete tangent. I just want a Mazda Bongo Friendy.
Let's start
Sam,
up
have you got a Bongo Friendy on your list?
No, but we're gonna. I'll start up a. We could all send £1 in or something, maybe.
Oh,
and get
yeah,
you one.
please.
Yeah. I haven't, unfortunately. No. In fact, the car I went for initially is probably quite sensible. Actually, it's not as crazy as a Bongo, but it's just a Skoda Kodiaq, but it's a VRS.
Oh, they're just
a TDI.
Yeah, I've driven a Kodiaq, and I'm not sure if I've driven the VRS. I've done the Sportline or whatever, and it's just, you get in it and you go, this is a safe car in every meaning of the word.
To be fair, the VRSs are the same. In this, I mean, it doesn't feel like an outwardly performance car. It's more the trim. Yeah. You get nice sporty seats with like cross stitching. The spec is really high. In fact, they're like bucket style seats. So it's a nice, it's a sensible family SUV, but with just VRS trimmings. I mean, I think the police had a few of these, didn't they? So you could theoretically squeeze this into the, it looks like a police car, so no one will mess with you category. Maybe not in red. But I do like them. One previous owner, 75,000 miles. Feels sensible.
How much is it going for?
It's going for 21,990.
So bang in budget.
Yeah.
The only thing, if I remember correctly, is that the rear seats in a Kodiaq are teeny tiny. It's a Kodiaq, isn't it? Yeah, I'm thinking of the Enyaq EV. But still, I think the rear seats are as in the rear seats, are extremely titchy. But, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
If you want something interesting, that's an idea. I mean, I'm of immensely average height, and I recall struggling to
That's quite funny, actually.
It's fold myself into it.
It looks like someone's folded up the parcel shelf, but it's actually the back bench.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
got it. Yes.
So that's one option. The quote sensible one.
Yeah, and then I mean these are quite sensible because they get not rallies, so they get taken off road all over. I think Africa. They're really popular, aren't they? The Mitsubishi Shogun.
Oh yeah. This is cool. This
not
does
a massively common sight on UK roads, but when you see one, you think, yeah. And I like the spec of this one. This one's up for £20,455, so also in budget. Looks absolutely mint. It's had 3 previous owners. It's a 2016 car, 60,680 miles. It's in a very, I mean, I quite like the spec. I think the colour's quite cool.
It's a metallic-y maroon, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it looks
Black
really
leather
good.
Interior.
Yeah.
It's got. It looks very happy to see you from the rear with that tow bar, very extended.
Yeah.
Obviously to reach beyond. Yeah.
That is a.
Have you got a tow bar? Or are you just happy to see me?
That is an extended tow bar.
Yeah. It's really. To get past the spare wheel on the back.
Quite envious, really. Yeah.
I know. Same.
Yeah, but it's. I don't know what the rear seating position is like. It looks freaking massive. I'm assuming there's some space in the back.
There you go. And look, the middle row seats fold forward very far, like they fold upright as well.
Exactly.
So accessing the rear will be a fair bit easier, I think, than the Kodiaq. And also they're leather trimmed. Is that? Oh no, that's the middle row. But they are leather trimmed all the way through. So that's quite nice.
So I'm assuming that Macron here,
look
in
at
his
the
spare
headrests.
time is this. Oh wow, God, those are the biggest headrests I've ever seen in my life.
Big tow bar, big headrests.
Good Lord,
on the rear. The rear
Shogun
seats.
does nothing small.
No.
I'm assuming that Macron here is some sort of sports coach.
Yes.
Or does sporty things at sporty events. Nothing says sports coach more than Mitsubishi Shogun. I think you turn up and it's like, okay, they have little cones in the back for dribbling and football stuff.
Oh, dribbling in football sense. Yeah,
exactly.
Sorry, dribbling.
Not that.
I was like, what? Leather seats, they're wipeable.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get into trouble, get us onto your third one, please.
Well, I should just throw in that's running a 3.2 litre diesel as well. 187 horsepower, so that'd be nice and lazy. I have a soft spot for the next one, and that is, it's a bit of a budget, by the way, 25 grand. But I have a soft spot for these because I just think they look quite cool. And it's a Mercedes GLB. It's in an AMG line, premium as well, trim.
It's an AMG, mate, really? Line?
AMG line, right, yeah, that definitely does happen. I've got an AMG. Have you? Oh, AMG line.
Ish. Yeah.
This is a 2020 car, so it's a pandemic car.
Yeah.
I assume it was properly cleaned on the way out of the factory. And it's 46,194 miles, one previous owner. It is a 1.9. They did a 1.9 diesel. Didn't even know that. There you go. So it's a 1.9 diesel.
Capacity.
Yeah, isn't it?
1.9.
Weird. But AMG line, so nicely spec'd, nicely finished. Seems to come with a free Grinch keyring by the looks of it as well.
Well, that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, they obviously had a good Christmas. Before I hand over to you and your arguably much more interesting choices, although I do quite like mine, I do want to throw in a little wild card. You saw one of these recently, didn't you?
Yep.
For £5 less than £6,000 on the PH classifieds right now is a 2010 Peugeot 4007, which I haven't seen probably in about 15 years.
Even the ad described it as rare,
As
right?
rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Very rare. So I was in my local Sainsbury's car park the other day and I saw one of these drive past. I missed the front, saw the side and the rear, and I was convinced someone had rebadged some sort of Mitsubishi as a Peugeot.
It looks like a Mitsubishi. You're right. It really does.
At the back, it looks extremely Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
These were... I didn't know these existed, to
I
be
forgot.
honest. Yeah.
I think I'd seen one before once, maybe a picture on a news press
cool,
thing.
Though. I mean, like it's a
very
rare, but nobody cares unless
Yeah.
you're people like us. Then there is a mild interest.
Yeah,
So
and it's in good nick. Look at those leather seats.
I have something quite similar to that, which I'm going to get to on my second pick.
Yeah.
But my first one is the one that I immediately went to for the PH choice.
Yeah.
I did ignore at least two bits of the requirements.
Right.
First of all was price, because they said 18 to 22. I've gone for 23, so this is 22,995. The other one was reliability.
Yeah.
This, from what I can see, is these are reliable, providing that you are fastidious with looking after them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it has 3 turbos.
Yeah.
It is a 2014 BMW X5 M50D. So that is the diesel with 376 horsepower. But most importantly, it has enough torque to dislodge the moon.
Yes.
It is a hugely torquey thing, 546 pounds-feet, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty handy.
I don't think it's going to be super duper roomy in the back. I'm looking at the seats though. I mean, they look like proper seats.
Oh, yeah.
In the rear,
Proper trimmings.
And you know what? One of the criteria was to have decent boot space at the back. There is. You could get some sports equipment in, not javelins.
No.
But shot puts, discus, cones, the
Yeah.
odd ball. You've got loads of cricket balls in there.
You were good at PE. I can only think of like 3 things.
Well,
Cones.
I was too busy just studying the equipment to actually compete. So that's my first option. That is the most fun. But
Yes.
I think that the reliability is probably not quite there, unless you are really good at maintaining it, which I don't know if they're doing it. So if you're really good at maintaining something, get this X5 because it's really freaking cool and quite rare. If not, maybe consider this.
Oh, wow.
It is a Cadillac SRX 3.6 Sport Luxury.
That must be so rare in the UK.
I've never seen one of these
In
before.
the US, I bet they're everywhere.
This is not a legitimate choice unless you really want to save some pennies because it's only 6,995 and it's got 50,000 miles, 5 previous owners, so it's been enjoyed by a few people. But to describe it to you, it's a bit like if you remember the Cadillac saloons from the mid to late noughties, if you don't, I mean, I'm going to put a picture up of it on YouTube because they were freaking rare in the UK. But this is sort of like one of those, but as an estate and jacked up.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the cladding on it like an all-road or a cross-country. It's literally just... It's just like a normal estate car that's just been lifted.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre. But I mean, this has school PE coach written all over it. That's an option if you're feeling extremely left field. Reliability, no clue.
Don't know.
But it's got 258 horsepower from a 3.6 litre V6, I assume.
Do you know the place where I see a lot of these kind of things? I don't think I've actually seen one of those. Is oddball American cars. Is around US air bases.
Oh yeah,
because they must. Some, I guess they probably
bring them over.
Sometimes bring them over, or maybe they've just found one cheap because it might work out just as cheap to buy one like that.
there is some sort of they don't have to pay tax, I don't think, to bring their car over. There's something about it of where we've been contacted by people before that have been like, I came over here with a Corvette something or other, US airbase. I'm now living here. I want to sell the car. What do you recommend?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. As is my final option. I mentioned this on the podcast quite recently. This is the perfect car. It fits every criteria other than the fact that it's not a diesel, but it is a hybrid.
In Cam Tateland, all roads lead to this car.
All roads lead, Sam Sheehan, to the Toyota Alphard.
Doesn't matter your starting point.
It doesn't matter, because not only they say, oh, it's got to be a 7-seater. How about 8? I've got 8 seats in this MPV, and they aren't just it's you're all crammed in the back. No, I'm talking about like wingback chairs in the rear of the car. This is such a comfy looking thing. So if you're worried about people. It says it's an 8-seater. I don't really know how they do that. 8 seats from that. But I mean, if you fold those up, maybe you could. I don't see another. I think there is a belt that comes down. I think it's. But there's no rear support. Okay, it's got at least 7 seats. I don't really know where the 8th comes from, but feel free to look into it yourself. But yes, these are proper chairs that you're sitting on. So worried about people complaining about comfort? Not a problem in the Alphard. Reliability? It's a Toyota.
Yeah.
Not a problem in the Alphard. 2.5 litre engine, which I believe is a V6. I think it's a V6 hybrid. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be a CVT of some kind, but it doesn't matter because you'll be wafting around in luxury in your Alphard.
Yeah.
And also, we're talking about slightly obscure PE teacher. Not that I'm assuming that they are a PE teacher, but maybe works in some sort of sports if they're bringing medals and stuff back. Import car.
Yeah.
Like the Caddy. Yeah. It's an import. They never sold the Alphard in the UK. Not like this. I love this car. 21,295. And because it's an import, you won't be paying crazy tax like you would do on a. If I think it's a V6, so there's a fixed tax rate at the moment, at least on import cars. Yeah. So yes, that's what I'm putting forward. Toyota Alphard. It's the answer to everything. If you don't have that kind of money, Mazda Bongo friendly.
Yes. Of course. And your 787B
787 Bongo.
7 Bongo. That's it. Yeah. That would be my ideal pick. Well, I guess to counter your... Oh, is it countering it? Maybe I'll go with the... I'm going to throw the Shogun in there.
I was going to say
that feels like the most interesting comparison.
Yours,
I'd like to see what people go for.
Absolutely. Yeah. You could imagine that containing a lot of sports equipment.
Yeah.
You might even be able to get some javelins in there. Who knows? You'll only find out if you buy it. So, Macron... president or not. What do you think of those? And if you're listening back home, let us know. I will put up a poll on Spotify. You can vote for which car you like more there. Or if you think that we were both utterly rubbish, you can go onto the article, which I'll put on the homepage, click the link into the topic and fill your own in. Always check Pistonhead's auctions as well to see what's available. At the moment, we do actually have a 7-seater or a multi-seater, but it will be ending by the time this goes live. It is a Volkswagen Camper E-Dub electric conversion, so it's going to be cheap to run in that regard. It looks absolutely magnificent. Yeah. But for the challenge that we have right now, probably not exactly what we're after.
Won't have the range really to get wherever they need to go.
We also have a Land Rover L460 D350 mild hybrid. However, that current bid with 5 days left is £52,000. So that is way over our budget.
God, that's a nice spec, isn't it?
It's really lovely. It's a really lovely thing. 24,000 miles, 2 previous owners. It's really nice. Yeah. Really, really, really smart. So yes, by the time this goes out, you'll have just over 24 hours to bid on that. So go check it out.
Yeah.
For our last topic, I'm going with Pizza Eating King's topic. Great name. He's got a topic called Badge Engineering. How many can one vehicle wear? And they say, like many of you, I'm a bit nerdy with cars and in this case vans too. For a while now, I've been amazed at how long the Citroen Relay / Peugeot Boxer / Fiat Ducato have been sold for. First released in 2006, it's now 20 years old, and while it's a few facelifts in, it's still the same van underneath. Each model is the same aside from the badges too, which isn't anything new. After the Stellantis merger, the van also became the Vauxhall Movano, ironically replacing the original Movano, itself shared with the Renault Master, which was released in 2010 or so, 4 years newer than the PAS designed van.
Ah.
Really, really strange.
So they binned off a newer van to replace it with an older van because of the merger.
And also because cheap.
Yeah, economies of scale.
Today, I spotted another version. It's a Toyota ProAce Max 2. Lastly, we have Iveco's latest electric van, an E-Super Jolly. Oh my God, that's up there with Bongo Friendly.
I was just about to say that. I know what your garage is growing out. Dream Garage.
It. Yeah, fun names.
Super Jolly and E-Bongo.
Same van, but electric only. I make that 6 different badges stuck to the front of the same van in the UK alone. Not only that, but they're all, as far as I can still see, still available brand new. The original PSA designed version van is certainly being squeezed for every penny. Can anyone else think of any other vehicle that has been sold as different models as many different times? So, Viking Aero says the Suzuki Carry / Daihatsu Hijet / Piaggio Porter / Honda Acti / Mitsubishi something or other / Subaru Sambar / Nissan something else / Bedford Rascal.
Oh yeah,
good point.
Got the Bedford Rascal run.
Love a Bedford Rascal.
Yeah, and the Daihatsu actually.
Daihatsu Hijet. They are really cool. That's another one I would want in my very obscure garage. Big GBN says the reason the Vauxhall Frontera was so crap was that it was an old Isuzu pickup with a car body thrown on top. Like many notorious criminals, it went by a wide variety of aliases. They include the Isuzu Amigo. Sorry,
Amigo.
Amigo. That's such an English way of saying it. Isuzu Amigo, the Isuzu Mystery Utility.
Yeah, that's military. Mystery Utility
Isuzu
Wizard.
Isuzu Mystery Utility Wizard.
That sounds a bit creepy.
Is that
Don't hang out
really
with that guy.
a name? Isuzu Mystery Utility Wizard.
Yeah.
It's not mystery. It's mysterious utility
God,
wizard,
that's
which
even
is
weirder.
even better. The Isuzu Cameo for the Thai market, the Isuzu Frontier for the South African market, the Isuzu Rodeo, the Isuzu Vega for the Thai market, the Chevrolet Frontera for Egypt, this Chevrolet Rodeo, the Holden Frontera, the Honda Jazz. I had to look this up. This isn't the Honda Jazz that we get. In Japan, they sold a Honda Jazz in the 1990s that was a Vauxhall Frontera, badged as a Honda Jazz. Really, really strange.
Yeah.
The Honda Passport, the
Passport.
Opel Frontera,
Yeah.
and the Vauxhall Frontera.
Yes.
And 98 Elise says, the Frontera is possibly the worst car I've ever driven. It was slow, thirsty, and crap. Not a single positive thing to say about it. I did get into a bit of a rabbit hole of people just hating on the Frontera, which was quite funny. Sam, this was so much fun to think of different cars that wear so many badges. Naturally, this sort of divulged into a platform sharing thing. So I've tried to keep it more on a badge, different badge cars, because if you did the platform sharing thing there, you can go in such a massive rabbit hole. Stellantis, every car is a Citroen C3, isn't it? Just rebadged.
Giulia Quadrifoglio, Citroen C3.
Precisely, yeah. So you've been having a think. What have you got?
Yeah, well, I actually saw one of these when I think I mentioned I went to Texas a couple of years ago, still talking about it all the time. And I was driving along, I was like, someone's got a Vauxhall Zafira, how weird. And then I realised it was a Buick Regal.
Buick
Regal.
Wait, sorry. The Buick Regal is McLaren tuned a version of the Regal in the 70s or 80s called the Buick Regal GNX.
That was when they were called big American muscly things, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So when I think Buick Regal, I think of that thing.
No.
But it's a Zafira.
No, Insignia.
Oh, sorry.
And Holden's in Oz were the same as well. Holden Insignia. Just a badge swap out. And obviously we know, I think I've mentioned this on an earlier episode. I don't know if they still do this on the very latest cars, but a neighbour of mine has an older Corsa. She had a front end impact. It tore off the plastics on the front. Her Vauxhall Corsa badge had been ripped off in the incident. And underneath was the blanking plate for an Opel badge. So they're that badge swap. Like they're obviously it's the same underneath, all Opel.
That.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
yeah. But obviously those aren't the most interesting cars. One that we're all going to be familiar with is the Holden Monaro.
Big time. Yeah.
And obviously we've got the Vauxhall equivalent.
Yeah.
But in the US, they got the Pontiac GTO.
Yes.
But interestingly, in the Middle East, they got the Chevrolet Lumina.
I never knew that existed. Because I knew of the Chevrolet SS, which was the Holden Commodore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is really,
and the Vauxhall
really cool.
VXR8, right? Yeah.
And the VXR8, yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So,
there we go.
Wow, yeah.
There we are.
How very strange.
Yeah. Obviously, less interesting were those Daewoo's we got that were actually rebadged Chevy. Sorry, the other way around. Sorry, those Chevys we got that were rebadged Daewoo's in the early 2000s, I think.
Oh god,
tiny
is it
little
that way
hatchback.
around?
I think they were Daewoo's that came as Chevys. Was it the Matiz? Am I dreaming that?
Yeah, it was
Matiz.
originally a Daewoo that was rebadged as a Chevrolet.
That's it. Did I say it the wrong way around?
Yeah,
that's what I meant. That's what I meant. So you're like, what do you drive? I've got a Chevy, and you're like, oh, cool. What is it? Camaro? No, it's a Matiz.
Imagine if they had done like a sports line of that, the SS, the Super Sport Matiz.
Apparently there was a Matiz V8 track car. I don't think that was mass produced, but yeah, there seems to be an image of a Matiz V8 there on the internet. The obvious one, and one that I have personal experience of because I ran one as a long-termer, Subaru BRZ.
Oh, you lucky
was obviously Toyota GT86.
Yeah.
And in the States was the, am I saying this right? Scion.
Scion.
That was it. You're right. Yeah, Scion FRS.
Really strange sub-brand.
Yeah.
Of Toyota.
Yeah, because because I think Toyota over there is seen as really sort of good value brand. So they have to like.
They've got three. Sorry, tangent here, but they've got three different brands that I can think of where you've got Toyota as kind of like the good, reliable, good value car. Then they were like, we want to release Americans like higher end stuff, so they did Lexus, which is
luxury executive US.
That's it. Yeah. Or is it luxury export? Something like that.
Oh, maybe it's that.
Yeah. So they then did that, and then Scion is meant to be like the sports division because Toyota can't be sporty despite having a fantastic history in it.
Yeah.
My one, not quite as, mine is basically badged as one thing or another, but they're pretty cool. There's the Subaru Impreza WRX Estate that was rebadged as a Saab 92X.
God, that can be more contrasting in terms of
owner.
But
I know. Just completely different owners.
Take the cap off and put on a scarf.
And a turtleneck.
Yes,
exactly. Could you imagine very, very thin frame glasses?
Yeah.
Black turtleneck and expertly, very cleanly cut grey hair.
Yes.
Driving around in a Impreza estate. But yeah, I think they were really cool looking things, and they were pretty much a straight badge swap. It's got more of the Saab front end on it, but I mean everything else about it is Impreza estate. So really, really cool car.
Same engine,
I think as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, really, really cool. Imagine making an STI version of that.
Yeah.
And call it, I don't know, the
9X
Turbo.
But it'd be really easy. The aftermarket supply for the Impreza is brilliant, so you could easily make your Saab super high performance.
You could literally, go full pro drive.
That would be so cool.
That would be epic.
Q car, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's another project to do.
Yes.
The other one, this one is much more hateful.
Yeah.
Lancia returned to the UK. A lot of people don't remember this, but they did come back. They were just rebadged as Chryslers. How on earth could they do that? Because there's still this belief in now Stellantis that Lancia's reputation from the beta was so shocking that no one will buy them in the UK. I have no interest in owning a Chrysler Delta, but even I would consider buying a Lancia Delta, even though it shares nothing with the original. I would have considered that. To finish things off is the Kia Elan.
I didn't...
which was the Lotus version of the Elan M100.
I don't think I knew this existed. And it was more than just a badge swap, right?
Apparently, there's two in the UK. Kia owns one of them. So they are hyper rare. They weren't meant to be as good as the Lotus version. I think the engines in them were not as good and heavier.
Yeah.
But... still, it's the kind of thing of where someone can go, hey, nice Lotus, mate. And you can go, oh, actually, it's a Kia.
And actually, because it's front-wheel drive, it kind of, in a way, people who get upset about the Lotus being front wheel drive, although it ended up being a great handling car anyway.
Yeah.
But it was front wheel drive. This being a Kia, you're like, yeah, it's front wheel drive.
I think it was the first Kia performance car as well.
Quite like the tail lights.
I've not done many since, but the rear lights
Slightly subtle.
are slightly different. That's about it, really. Obviously, the wheels are different too.
I think they've just stuck a black cover over the standard. Oh, maybe not actually. Maybe I'm being a bit cruel.
I think
just looks like they've covered the standard Lotus lights.
There's some difference there, but yes, it is a Kia. It does have a different engine in it, but if you want to be different, keep your eyes peeled, because I'm sure someone will sell the only one that you could actually get privately in the country at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many others, so please head into the article and hit the topic, drop some more in there, because it's so good. I really enjoyed this one, mostly for the Frontera pylon, but also because there's just so many cool badge sharing things out there, especially the Subaru Saab thing I just absolutely love.
Yeah.
We're going to call it a day there. Thank you ever so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of the Gassing Station podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and maybe some nice words as well, either some words of encouragement, or you could obviously message us privately with some constructive criticism if you think we could do better. But it just really helps us know that we're on the right track, and also get the name out there. And we'd love more people to listen into our immense car nerdery. Sam, anything you'd like to end on?
Well, I'll hold it for the next episode, but my MX-5, new tyres, some big developments coming. I can't wait. I'm like a 17-year-old again. It's not going to be... I mean, I love it, but it's a bit rough. But it's going to get better.
I'm expecting a subwoofer the same weight as the car. I will find out when I see you next Tuesday.